Welcome back to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. A huge thank you to our friends here at Southridge Mall for allowing us to tape our show here today. Don't forget to join us on Sunday, February 9th here at Southridge for CW18 and My24's Family Fest 2014. Log on to CW18Milwaukee.com or My24Milwaukee.com for all the details. February is American Heart Month, and here to give us some tips for better heart health is Jay Matz, who is the Communications Director for the American Heart Association. Hello, Jay.
Hello, thank you for having me on.
It's always a pleasure to have you here. I appreciate you being here. And it is no secret, heart disease is a major problem. Every year, 75,000 Americans have a heart attack, and about 600,000 people actually die from heart disease in the U.S. It's the leading cause of death for both men and women, but the good news is that it is preventable and controllable. Let's talk more about that.
Well, you're right. It's about 1 in 3 people nationwide across Wisconsin, every county in Wisconsin, will die from heart disease or stroke.
Wow.
But the good news is that 80% of that is preventable by people living a healthier lifestyle. So what we need people to do is, if they can quit smoking, if they can exercise regularly, and if you're already exercising, do more of it, and then also eating a healthier diet. By doing those things, a lot of heart disease and stroke can be prevented.
Yeah, and that's just something to keep in mind, because sometimes when we feel fine, we just kind of do whatever, you know, go through the drive-through here and there, and it's cold, you don't feel like doing anything as far as exercise is concerned, and that's really not the direction we want to go in order to live a happy, healthy lifestyle.
Well, and that's the thing too, we hear from people, they'll say, well, you know, I'm not obese, and obesity is an issue, but just being overweight by a few pounds puts extra strain on your heart. So when we talk about people being healthy, eating healthy, exercising, getting their weight under control, we're not saying because we want you to look a certain way. It's because your body needs to be in a healthy span. It needs to fall within a certain guideline just for your heart health. And we want to be able to help you to live a better quality of life and be able to do all the things you want to be able to do in life.
Yeah, and that's so true. There are so many like skinny or thin people who aren't necessarily in good health, if that makes sense, you know?
You can have high cholesterol, you can have high blood pressure, no matter, you know, how skinny you are. Those things come into play as well. And so it's important to go to your doctor, find out, know your numbers, have a blood test done where they can check your cholesterol, your blood glucose, they can check your body mass index and let you know if you're in a healthy weight area. And then it's important to listen to your doctor. If they prescribe you a medication, take it. Even if you don't necessarily feel sick, because you won't feel those symptoms of those things, but there's still damage being done to your system. And then obviously, again, if you can start living a healthier lifestyle, if you're already doing some of those things, do more. And it can help you, if you have to be on medication, it can help get those dosages reduced over time. Or if you're not, it can help prevent you from ever having to go on those things.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that in just a little bit, but I do think it's important to find out more about what it is you do at the American Heart Association. Clearly, you're there to give tips like the ones you just gave us, but you do a whole lot more.
That's right, and it's American Heart Month, and that's one of the things we want to be able to cover a wide variety of things that we're talking to the public about. We're talking about prevention, what they can do for those things, but it's also important for people to know what the warning signs are of a heart attack or stroke, so that if they recognize those symptoms, they can call 911 right away. So we also do a lot of education around that. We come up with CPR guidelines, so when people are being trained on CPR, they're learning the most recent protocols that the American Heart Association has come up with. We also work to fund research. Over the past 5 years, we've spent almost $14 million just in Wisconsin, funding 128 new research studies. So we're constantly looking for new treatments and surgical procedures, drugs, and patient care for someone who has a heart attack or a stroke.
Yeah, so if someone is in that unfortunate scenario, you can give them resources that can help them depending on where they are with getting back to health.
Correct. And we also, we work with hospitals. We have something called quality improvements where we work with hospitals to make sure that every hospital is following all the latest protocols. So that way, no matter what hospital you go to, if you're having a heart attack or stroke, you know that that hospital is going to give you the most effective treatment as quickly as possible. And that's another way that people don't necessarily see it, but that's one way we're working to improve the cardiovascular health of everyone.
Yeah, it's very important, no doubt about that. And you did mention that part of your job is to make sure people understand the symptoms of a heart attack or stroke. And the interesting thing is that those symptoms are usually not the same for men and women. So let's talk a little bit about that. What are some of the symptoms that people shouldn't kind of blow off or think it's something else? They should react.
Well, and that's one thing, people think of the typical chest pressure.
Yeah, the Fred Sanford.
Yes, and that's what people think of. And if they're not having that, it's not a heart attack. Women a lot of time will get jaw pain or neck pain. They can get very nauseous or start sweating profusely. They can get pain in one arm. Those are the kinds of things that, if it's unusual, you need to pay attention to it. So many people that I talk to have had these kind of symptoms. They play it off as, oh, I have food poisoning, or I slept funny, or I was carrying my kid around all day, so that's why one side of me kind of hurts. But afterwards, they all said it felt different. It was a kind of pain I'd never had before. So if you're having something, listen to your body. If something is happening that you feel is out of place, it's time to go get medical help.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say that, because over the fall I had this sharp pain from my neck all the way down and had a numbness in my hand, and because I have these type of conversations all the time, I knew that I couldn't just blow that off. So when I mentioned to somebody, like, it really is weird that I'm having these pains in my arm, it could be a heart attack, they kind of laughed, like, you don't look like you would have a heart attack. And I'm like, that's the part of the education that's important, that people don't necessarily look like they would have a heart attack. So come to find out, it was a pinched nerve from raking leaves, but I still had to follow up and make sure it wasn't something that could be detrimental to my health, and I would feel sorry that I didn't act.
You did the right thing.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
It's for sure. And so when we use the term heart disease, it does refer to several types of heart conditions. The most common type in the U.S. is coronary heart disease, which is where there is a buildup of plaque in the arteries, which is very dangerous. And then, of course, there's cardiovascular disease, which includes heart disease and stroke. And those two things alone cost the U.S. $312.6 billion a year, and that's billion with a B. So it's pretty amazing that more people don't realize how serious this is.
Well, and I think sometimes people, they don't necessarily know their family history of it. It's not a case, an uncle might have a heart attack or something, and they're in and out of the hospital pretty quickly. And maybe it doesn't get talked about as much, but family history plays a huge part in heart disease. And so it's something that people need to not just brush off. When you talked about women having different symptoms, women who have the symptoms, less than half of women with those symptoms will call 911 if they're having them. But 90% will call if somebody they know is having those symptoms. And women tend to want to take care of others before they take care of themselves.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Or I'm busy, or I gotta do this,
I gotta get
do
the
this,
kids from school, I gotta do this, I got a project that I have to do for work, and then I'll go to the doctor, right?
Yes, and so that's the kind of thing that we need to pay attention to, because if you can get treatment before you get to that point, when you talk about these huge costs and things like that, that's something that can help head that off, where you're not having to have a lot of rehab afterwards.
Absolutely. And so when we talk about the Affordable Health Care Act, now there are a lot of people who were not in a position to get that preventative care every year. Those individuals now will be able to go and get examined for high cholesterol, diabetes, things of that nature. And diabetics actually need to kind of be aware of heart disease as well, right?
Yes, diabetes is one of the leading risk factors for heart disease and stroke.
Wow.
People don't necessarily put those two together,
right,
but that puts a huge toll on the circulatory system. So that's a big thing. And you're right, now that more people are going to be able to have access or feel that they can go to see a doctor because they're going to be insured, it is important to go and get checked out, especially, like I say, if you know you have that family history.
Yeah.
Make sure you do that and talk to the doctor about that. Say, I've had a history of people dying young in my family. These are the things I might need to look at.
Wow. So we, of course, are here at Southridge, and right behind, it's so interesting, right behind you, there's the directory, and it says heart disease kills more women than all forms of cancer combined, and it also reminds us to help fight the #1 killer of women directly behind you. So very ironic, but you're going to be here at Southridge Mall for a huge event that's coming up later this month. Tell us about that.
That's correct. On Saturday, February 22nd from 11 till 4, Simon Malls and Southridge Malls here has done the Paint the Mall Red event. And so they focus on heart health. We were here last year. It was a great event. People loved it. The firefighters were here teaching CPR demonstrations. There were healthy cooking demonstrations. There's all kinds of information you can get about being able to take care of your heart and do things for that. So we're very thankful for Southridge for having this event this year again, and that we can be here and be part of it. It's a great event.
I love that. Saturday, February 22nd, mark your calendar, from 11 till 4.
Correct.
Going to be painting the mall red.
Yes.
Not literally, but
no, and
don't anybody come with paint.
We love for people to wear red, and that's kind of a thing we do. We have wear red day during February and the whole month of February, just encouraging people to wear red to try and raise awareness, so that when people see you wearing the red, they say, what's that about? And you can start to talk to them about their heart health and what you're doing for your heart health.
And I teased you earlier because I said I put on my red dress right there, and that is the symbol, of course, for Go Red for Women, which is so important when it comes to you getting those very important facts out to women about heart health and heart disease, which is the #1 killer of women. You do have a few other events we want to make sure people know about before we run out of time. Your Jump Rope for Heart 35th birthday celebrations coming up February 21st.
Correct. And people might not realize this, but Jump Rope for Heart started in Milwaukee, at Milwaukee Riverside High School. Yes, and now it's grown nationwide. Last year we had 28,000 schools participate nationwide, raised $60 million. And it all started right here in Milwaukee. So we're doing a birthday party on the 21st at Riverside High School at 9 in the morning, and we're excited for that. Okay,
and I'll just kind of go down the list. The Fit Friendly Symposium on Tuesday, February 25th.
Yep.
And then Waukesha County, you have a Heart Chase. That's a little down the line, April 26th. And then this is a huge event for you, the Milwaukee Go Red for Women Luncheon on Friday, May 2nd. So a lot of exciting things going on, not just in February, but along the calendar throughout the year.
We need to help people make it a year-long commitment to health. So we got to be in front of people as much as we can.
And that's what it's all about. So you finally got a number of community outreach programs that you do throughout the year as well. And one of those is Check, Change, Control. It's a high blood pressure program, and that's going on now through April. It's in its 2nd year. So people can get more information on that on your website?
Correct. If you go to heart.org, pretty much all of our programs are available there, and people can learn more about that.
Good stuff. Heart.org, that's the website. And is there anything else that you'd like to share with us before we wrap up today?
Just, again, to tell people that they have the power to take control of their heart health. There are some things that are genetic and you can't do anything about, and there are treatments for those things, but a lot of it, if you just make a commitment to taking care of yourself, you can go a long ways to making your heart healthy.
Thank you so much for being here. Looking forward to all the exciting things going on with the American Heart Association. Jay Matz is the Communications Director for AHA. You can log on to heart.org again for more information on anything that we've talked about today. And don't forget to join us here at Southridge Mall on February 9th for CW18 and My24's Family Fest. There will be celebrity appearances, live performances, and a long list of activities for the entire family. And then again on Saturday, February 22nd from 11 till 4 p.m. you can paint the mall red with the American Heart Association. That is going to do it for today's show. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. Thank you for watching, and we do hope you join us again next week as we take a look at our issues, Milwaukee. Have a great day.